So now I want to talk about something else, and that's the continuing misinformation on social media. Not about whether or not the response to this is appropriate, right, proportionate, but the actual virus itself, which absolutely exists, there's no doubt about it. We'll start off with the Wuhan market and the idea that this virus originated there. Now, that was, I believe it was at least 2 weeks ago. This was all but debunked. The scientists and researchers who have been trying to track down patient X, patient 0, whatever it's called, have found out that rather than the first person contracting this disease, I believe it was December 17th. You'll have to excuse me on the exact dates because fuck that, I can't remember all that shit. It was November 17th, a month before that, and that first person who has yet to be identified. I touched my face. Ah! That first person had no relationship to the Wuhan market. And the same goes for a number of people who were initially infected. That's important, right? Because what many of you keep sharing is that this originated in the wet market, and it's these foods that these people are eating, and it's unsanitary and it's unhygienic and it's causing these viruses, because look at frickin' China and Asia all together. They're just, all this stuff is coming out of there, and it's gonna destroy us. Look at us, we're stuck in the house. I don't know if that's how some of you talk. Do you talk that way? I don't know. The bottom line is no. There is a very good chance it did not originate in the market, but more importantly, basically everything is, we can't verify it just yet. There is not, everything that all the information that we're seeing, all the data is kind of up in the air. There's a virus, we know that. Even the case fatality rate is not exact. So a lot of you keep saying, oh my God, we don't even know how many people are infected. If there's more people infected, that's actually a good thing. And if you don't know that they're infected, that's because they're not showing symptoms. Okay, I'm switching gears here. I don't want to switch gears, so I'm gonna, go back. But I'm also gonna eat this cracker and my chopped liver, because it's delicious, which might be exotic to some people. This delicious exotic liver, because dainties, people really didn't eat them here. Well, they did in the beginning, because at some point, people who were poor, they ate everything. Every little bit of the fucking animal. The liver, tripa, lengua, everything's fucking eaten. Because when you're poor, you eat everything. That's one, Wuhan, nope. 2, now, media hasn't gotten on this train yet. I'm like a motherfucking Rain Man. Thank you, ADD, for taking me down hours and hours long rabbit holes where I don't sleep. I have seen some articles that have finally started touching on the lack of biodiversity or climate change and the emergence of viruses, emergent viruses, these new strains. Okay, so the amplification effect, and this is the thing, biodiversity could either be a really great thing, or in some cases it can be a negative. It can actually allow a disease to have a more abundant spread, and that's the amplification effect. But in this case, it's the dilution effect that's the problem. Well, not the problem. We don't have the dilution effect occurring because of the lack of biodiversity. Or at least that's what I think is happening. And there's a reason for that. Because, I'm a scientist. I really want to eat these crackers. I'm going to say a lot because I'm tired. Really tired. Clearly you can't tell by how absolutely stunning I look. I'm just glowing. That's what happens when you don't see sunlight for days. I mean, I've seen it a little bit. I have been going outside. So biodiversity and how it affects emergent viruses. So there's 2 ways this can go. When there's biodiversity, there's something called, or I don't think it's the official name, but it's a dampening effect. The more animals there are, there's more animals with just natural genetic immunities to certain viruses. And so sometimes these viruses, either just by the time, if they do get to us, it's nothing. They're benign, or they don't get to us at all. That's really, I guess, the goal. A zoonotic virus not getting. And because there's so many species, these pathogens, they travel around and they can actually get dampened. Their effect can be dampened, or again, they just die out completely before they get to us. The amplification effect is the opposite. That's when there are so many viable options for this virus to spread. You know, they have all these choices, and all the choices are good, and so you end up seeing an increased disease risk. The thing is, overall, there are plenty of studies on both of these, and plenty of studies that compare the two. Like, what is better, right? So clearly, biodiversity is bad, or it's good, when it comes to disease risk or emergence of viruses. But predominantly, it's the dilution effect that we're seeing. It's a good thing when there's biodiversity. That helps us, humans. But that also is dependent, because nothing is black and white. Things are complex. Nothing, it's not a this or that. So depending on the situation, biodiversity usually is the best case scenario for us to survive and not get sick and not see a virus like COVID-19, which, again, I'm not going to put my opinions out there. It does exist. There is no chance for something like COVID-19, or less chance for it to rear its ugly head and make sure that there is a shortage of toilet paper and sanitizer. China. Why this is important when it comes to China, and I mean, this is important for all of us, all over the globe, because we're seeing a destruction of ecosystems and animals dying out, and we're definitely seeing an imbalance occurring more and more. We have more and more species that are dying out, and we need these species because they are a firewall between us and a new, terrifying, terrible illness that can wipe us out, or at least, kill a lot of us. Currently, it's killing grandma and grandpa. That's not good. So China in 1999, well, first of all, let's start off with this. China is the slopiest land. The slopiest. I honestly don't know what word to use here. I've been trying to figure it out for like 2 or 3 days now. It's sloped as fuck, okay? The place is the most sloped terrain, has the most sloped terrain in, all of globedom. And because of this, they were finding a lot of water and soil erosion, which is no bueno. China, at the end of the day, no matter what kind of propaganda America tries to throw at it, it has done more when it comes to conservation than us, by a lot, like significantly more. I can't think of the stuff off the top of my head, but they had reduced their pollution output, what was it, between 13 and 14%. I think that was in 2016. So I don't know how much it's been since then, but it's a lot. They've done a lot of work towards healing the environment. And yeah, they pollute a lot, but there's a whole lot of them. It's a lot of people. China is the most populous country on earth, and we don't have really any leg to stand on when it comes to pollution and how we treat the environment, or animals for that matter. So, anywho, slopey fucking land. Let's fix that. I don't know who the hell said that, but some guy in China was like, let's do it. Let's fix this. Let's fix our land. Let's reforest 28 million hectares. Did I pronounce that right? I have no fucking clue. But that's each hectare, I'm totally probably pronouncing it wrong, is 100 acres. Each hectare. That's 28 million. So this is the largest, most ambitious reforestation project, conservation project, ever initiated, completed, worked on. And they did this in 1999. It was called the Green for Grain Project. There was no doubt in my mind that this was done in earnest. I don't think there was any dark, nefarious what's the word? What is that little word? Little gnomes in my head that are supposed to grab shit off the shelf, like words and concepts. Just, they never work. I mean, sometimes they do, but for the most part, they are just, oh, they're so high. Intentions. There was no nefarious intentions. This was all done in good faith. The problem is, as humans do, sometimes when they want to do good, they don't necessarily look at all of the contributing factors. They want to fix stuff. The same goes for solar panels, by the way, but that's not what this video is about, so I'm not going to lose focus. But I'm sure they have very smart people involved, but again, nothing is black and white. There are so many variables involved. Everything is so interconnected, and not just on this metaphysical fucking plane like we're some fucking hippies. I mean, science, biology, everything is interconnected. The earth, the ecosystem. I mean, every little thing can affect something else, and that's really why, you know, there is the amplification effect and the dilution effect when speaking about biodiversity. Because the environment matters. How much time do humans spend in that environment? What are they doing in that environment? So in this case, 1999, grain for green. Amazing thing they did here, right? Let's heal our earth. So they reforest all this land. Now, throughout the process, I should probably get my phone because I have my notes in here. Throughout this process, there was research and scientists and researchers that, you know, I'm not sure how they contacted them because these were research papers that I was reading, but they communicated their reservations about the way this reforestation was happening. China wanted to get these trees in there. They wanted to have a green landscape. They wanted to make sure to, you know, oxygenate the environment. The problem was these weren't trees. Some of them, they were, oh God, what were they? Not bushes. I'm forgetting the word here. Anywho, they grew fast, but they were creating a lot of monocultures, and also there was a lot of lack of biodiversity happening, a reduction in biodiversity. Remember, this is the largest, most ambitious project when it comes to conservation. So you've got 28 million hectares. Each of those hectares, man, I really hope I'm close. I probably should have had that little British voice where you say, pronounce that word for me. And it goes, hectare. The wood is, that is the worst English. Oh my God, I'm just gonna stop. Okay. The wood is hectare. Hectare? Ay, ay, ay. I'm gonna eat this cracker. I'm gonna just eat this cracker and just hopefully not focus on trying to say that word in a British accent again. Oh, wonderful. I didn't want you guys to have to see me chewing. Do I have oh, I thought that was a little bit of cracker on my face. Okay. So, this project goes on for a while. I think it's been completed since 1999. I think. Anyway, you've got the largest land mass, amounts of land mass reforested, but they done fucked up the biodiversity. So now we go to our research. So these researchers were worried about that. Now the connection, right? So you've got, yes, China does, and I haven't done the specific math on this. I probably should have, but a quick scan shows that China does in fact have a lot of, and this has been, I mean, Asia in particular, the continent of Asia, but it's huge. I mean, let's remember that it's freaking huge. We even got Russia, Eurasia, right? Not an official continent. I just burped, you guys. That's also taking up space in that area. So a lot of viruses, illnesses are going to come out of there. Also because the biodiversity doesn't, it's not only reduced because of this project, but also because of population increases. We are encroaching on wildlife. It's their fucking property, and we're just stepping into it and then expecting things to go on the way they do as usual, right? So nothing should change, but it is changing. We don't belong in certain areas, and we are stepping into them. We are breaking into them, and we're expecting things to... God, what is that fucking word, phrase? Business as usual, motherfucker. That was so... God, these gnomes. Seriously, can you imagine you have little gnomes? Like, just, hey, gnomes, you just go, Dewey Decimal System. Find that fucking book easily. No, I don't have a Dewey Decimal System. I just have a bunch of frantic gnomes running around my brain, you know, hoping that they can find where I put the thought, or the word, or the concept. So they're like, did she put it in the fridge? It's like a really disorganized version of John Malkovich's head, and inside it they're looking in the fridge for the keys, they're looking in the cupboard for the phone. Sometimes that's where they find it, right? Sometimes they don't find it for hours, right? So they can't even drive their car because they can't even find the car. Well, it's my car keys, but in the brain thing. So yeah, gnomes, very, very, very ditzy, disorganized ADD gnomes. That's the ADD brain, at least for me. So, you've got, you know, population increases, which is happening all over the globe, but in particular, Asia has a enormous population. China and India, two of the top populations in the world, largest. So we've got that, plus we have this project, again, done with the best intentions. So now we go to this research where a lack of biodiversity causes an increase in virus emergence. So this increase in virus emergence, what it's doing, the negative aspects of this are we don't have the dilution effect. We don't have enough species to get sick, to get infected, and then dampen the effects of these viruses. And because this project was the largest and most ambitious of its kind, I suspect that this has a lot to do with these emerging viruses. So in recent years, I think some of the reason why we're seeing these illnesses coming out of China is because of possibly this project and the sheer amount of land that it encompassed. I mean, you've got, again, 28 million hectares. 100 acres. It's a lot. Each hectare, it's a lot. I can't even imagine how much it is, but it's unprecedented. Its biodiversity reduced. And then, right, so you've got SARS. What was it? We had SARS, avian flu, and now we have COVID-19. All within less than 20 years. And this project started in 1999. So, what do we have here? Where is the actual, because I know y'all like people to show their work, even though y'all never show your fucking work. You're just like, we're gonna die because of this, because the scientists said so, and oh my goodness, they just shut this down, so clearly we're gonna die. You know, I sneezed, like, what is it, 2 months, 30 weeks, 3 seconds, 3.7 nanoseconds ago. And I coughed. Clearly it was COVID-19. That's what it was. I was sick with that. Motherfuckers, I was sick. I was sick for 3 fucking months last year. I did have the plague. I had swine flu. 3 months. Let me remind you. 3 months. I got that swab up my nose. And I had 104 fever. And they did want to keep me in the hospital. But I had to, you know, barely walk my dogs when I got back. So I know what's the word, severe sickness feels like. And I went to the doctor multiple times before finally taking myself to the hospital, before they finally swabbed me. It was awful. I was sick. I was very, very sick. And a good 65% of the time, I still somehow managed to leave the house because every so often I thought I was getting better. So, like, didn't isolate myself sometimes. But it was, like, I went out to a New Year's Eve party. Sorry, guys. I hope none of you got sick. I don't think you did. I don't think I was infectious anymore. But, yeah. No, you didn't have fucking COVID-19. And if you did, it was mild. That's why. You didn't actually have to go to the hospital. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Let's see. This was one of the research papers that specifically called out possible issues with the land conservation project, or the sloping land conversion program. With a budget of a lot of money, $337 billion, over 40 US billion, the sloping land conversion program is one of China's most ambitious environmental initiatives and is one of the world's largest land conservation programs. Pending successful completion, it will have significant implications for China's forests and remaining natural ecosystems, representing an almost 10% increase in the current national forest area. However, we provide evidence that it is in danger of failing to reach its goals due to flaws in design and implementation. Of central concern has been the overly quick expansion over the past few years, which has served to exacerbate problems already revealed but not adequately addressed during the pilot phase of the program. The next one. This had to do more with what brought on this deep dive, and that was one of Nostradamus's predictions, which I'm not going to go full on into that crazy just yet. I may get to that, but seriously, it's pretty on the nose, that prediction. The sloping park, great calamity. Fire in the ships from the west to Lombardy. The sloping park, China, has the most sloped land anywhere. National parks, sloping park, trees, oh my god. Okay. Just stop the full-on crazy. I don't want to completely discredit the information here, which is probably already barely credible because I don't have a science degree. But what spurred this on was floods and droughts in 1997 along the Yangtze River. I don't think I pronounced that right either. So then we have more researchers. Does biodiversity lead to an increase in disease? Biodiversity is disappearing at an alarming rate as infectious diseases increasingly spill over from wildlife to humans. Disease ecologists fervently debate whether the biodiversity loss leads to an increased disease spread. Now, a new study offers some answers. So you've got increasing spillover from wildlife to humans. And this isn't centered around China. This is in general. China reforestation program, a letdown for wildlife, study finds. Can you see this little panda? He's so cute. Oh, damn it. Let's turn this freaking, there we go. Look at this guy. And study finds. You can't, well, that's what it said. Ooh, woo! Study finds. Put my little hat on because it's cold. And, okay. The effects of ecosystem biodiversity on virus genetic diversity depends on virus species. A study of Chilepin infecting Vigo More viruses in Mexico. That's a mouthful. Cannot find my glasses. I have no idea where all three glasses that I had went. Current declines in biodiversity put at risk ecosystem services that are fundamental for human welfare. Increasing evidence indicates that one such service is the ability to reduce virus emergence. It has been proposed that the reduction of virus emergence occurs at two levels, through reduction of virus prevalence, transmission, and as a result of these epidemiological changes through a limitation of virus genetic diversity. We've got less viruses that would emerge overall with a increase in biodiversity, or at least keeping biodiversity where it should be in the first place, and less of it transfers. So it will most likely stay or just die out within this biodiverse ecosystem. And a limitation of virus genetic diversity. So we'd have less strains. What is this here? Oh, here we have more. The letters are so small. They're so small. What does this say? Little tiny letters. That's my phone telling me that it's time to go to sleep. I never listen to it, ever. Screw you, phone. I do what I want. China's Grain for Green project is a rapid landscape scale shift in ground cover and land use with significant implications for biodiversity. Evidence that large-scale afforestation in this vulnerable arid and semi-arid region could increase the severity of water shortage, decrease vegetation cover in afforestation, and adversely affect the number of species present. It's more vulnerable to erosion and reduces species diversity, and I lost my fucking place again. So there it is. It reduces the species diversity. So now, but recently, this is another study, but recently scientists have discovered that large swaths of newly planted forests provide few habitats for China's many threatened species of animals and smaller plants. The country's biodiversity is at risk. God, I wish I had written down what year this is from. You'll see it when I include the link, if I can find the link again, because I accidentally cleared my damn cookies. Oh, I think this might have been 2011. So 9 years ago. Threatened species of animals, smaller plants, the country's biodiversity is at risk. The country's. There's not like a little area. The country's biodiversity is at risk. Again, it's a fucking large area of land. Zhu Jianchu, I'm sorry, Zhu, if I mispronounce your name, a professor at the Cumming Institute of Botany, first warned that Chinese new forests weren't as green as they seemed in 2011. In an op-ed published in the Journal of Nature, he argued that the government policies encourage the planting of fast-growing tree species, many of which are non-native and therefore unsuitable for local wildlife. More recently, in a study published in May, he suggests official estimates of China's tree planting campaign have overstated its successes, partially by mistaking shrubland for forests. So again, I want to say I don't think this was intentional, because even the wording here is mistaking shrubland for forests. Or maybe that was just this guy's way of not getting killed. I don't know. I don't think it's that deep. And then Saturn's losing its rings, but that's also part of Nostradamus's prediction. Mercury in Jupiter, Saturn fading. But I'm gonna finish this first part first. I'm sure there was more stuff that I wanted to address, but I wanted to share this first. I think it's really interesting. I think it's definitely something that needs to be addressed and looked at when we're talking about these viruses that are coming out of China. I want to see a reduction in assaults on fucking people, on Asian people who literally are just living their fucking lives. Mostly, I want information that's accurate to be spread, or at least as accurate as possible, considering a lot of this information is still guesstimates. You can either believe some rando online that reads a whole fuck ton. You'll just have to trust me on this. I hope you guys can see the connection between the emergences of viruses in China and this afforestation project, one that's this large. It's not being talked about in the news. Ellie, hi, you are so cute. You are so cute. There are plenty of people out there, the fools on the hill, that may not be able to articulate exactly why something is, but they know it is. Like the guy who was like, yo, I forgot his name, that dude that I posted about the other day. He's like, we gotta wash our hands. Less people are gonna die. And everyone's like, no, they're not. Prove it. Tell me why. And he's like, I just know, man. Just freaking seriously, believe me. And it wasn't until years later germs were discovered, the reason why washing your hands is so important. So yeah, okay. Peace out. Is this the peace sign? Oh, my hands are so fine. This is what happens with sanitizer. Because, just in case. I don't want to, be the reason somebody got sick. Sorry. Just eating my cracker. Just a cracker eating a cracker. I don't mind being a dissenting voice in situations like this. I don't even have a problem with shame, because eventually I turn out right. God, that is arrogant, but it's true. We may never know in this case. But I don't want to talk about the thing that so many of you are shaming myself and others for, because I'm shaming you internally and externally and loudly and angrily and viciously, because you're the majority, this collective, affects my life and affects your life eventually, but you won't know. You won't realize that until there's a boot on your neck, but gotta edit that out. Probably won't. I forgot. I wanted to add one more thing. For those of you with the whole they eat exotic foods, lamb balls. I ate those delicious lamb fries, which are fried lamb balls, thinly sliced, were delicious. And they come straight to you out of the very foreign ethnic place of Oklahoma, out of George Bush's favorite steak restaurant. We've got alligator eaten in New Orleans. We got You know, the Appalachians and various other places in the South that eat possum, raccoon, some squirrel. We have places here, South, Midwest, that eat snake, just like they do in China. We have this ridiculously inflated sense of cultural arrogance. And from that arrogance, we call other people's food exotic. They're eating weird stuff. No, eating weird stuff. Okay, they're eating stuff that you don't eat. Period. This Eurocentric view that somehow what we do, how we do it, is the gold standard. It is the right way. No, it is not. Am I angry? Yes, I am very angry. Yeah, I was going off on a huge rant on this, but God, man, I guess I'm just so tired. It just, puttered out, right? That's the word, teetered out, puttered out. My dog is so cute. I just want to. Hi, Boo Boo. How you doing? She's just like, oh my gosh. Okay. One more thing. The pot and the flu. You want to guess who brought it to the Americas? European fucking settlers. Oh my God, you are so cute. Why is it this side in particular that I just want? Okay. Good night.